Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, as you might expect after a night of peace. KOTT News crews took the opportunity to continue its investigation in Brimstone Sands. Emotep himself provided the briefing for the mission.
You must prevent Sutek's return at all costs, but be prepared for a great battle.
After navigating the trial with the help of a book of gate codes discovered earlier, an unusual weather phenomenon turned out to be an aggressive enemy. Forced to defend myself, I was able to prevail against the mighty foe and his two goons. KOTT News will bring you more on the continuing saga in Brimstone Sands as it develops. KOTT News crews would like to inform its subscribers and those whom are about to be of a free item available for a limited time through the secondary market. Turning to the weather, and as I live and breathe, you can count on the sun showing up once again today. But once more after sunset, citizens of Eternum should be on the alert for a 30% chance of invasion. One submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Syndicate forces of Soju Gang assail the Covenant forces of Daddy Chill for control of the nearly uncontrollable Restless Shore. It's a literal war on Christmas as Soju Gang launches an assault on their southern neighbor in an attempt to expand their Festivus empire. The Covenant forces of Daddy Chill standing by at the top of the hill, awaiting the oncoming conflict, hopefully able to spend time with family earlier in the day. We'll have the outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Soju Gang win the war on Christmas and gain control of the eastern Restless Shore. KOTT News crews were reporting live on the scene as seen live on KOTT Classic, available previously on this channel. After the war, KOTT News were able to secure an interview with the new rulers of the region. Congratulations on your victory in Restless Shore, over in a couple minutes as covered live by KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. How do you think it went down out there? Why didn't they show up?
I think it's because it's the holidays, Christmas Day. Everybody was busy spending time with their family. And we did not want a Christmas war, but they changed their siege timer, so it landed on Christmas Day. We were hoping to have the war on the 23rd.
Okay. Well, notable and noble to make that declaration. I'm sure that if they want to get themselves together, they'll come back out here and challenge you for it back, right?
100%. I do not take Daddy Chill a very light company. They're really good players. There are really good players in that company.
Turning to the weather, and it's going to be another sunny day all afternoon long. But look out after nightfall, as a 20% chance of corruption invasion will arise. Another submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Covenant forces of Most Wanted assault the Marauders of Thrust Damage for control of the primary oil reserves of Weaver's Fin. Most Wanted forces turn their attention to Weaver's Fin in their attempt to resecure land yet again against a foe they have little experience with. Thrust Damage have been battling for the bog the last 2 weeks, currently residing as Great House. Will their back and forth with Sparkies turn them outcast again? Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Most Wanted race through the Fin and secure the primary oil reserves of Weaver's Fin. We caught up with company leadership after the fight to ask how it went. Congratulations winning here in the Fin, over in 6 minutes straight. Would you care to take us through it?
We had a really solid war plan from our War General Savrin. We stick to comms, followed the Zerg, and so we came out on top.
Well, everybody's well coordinated like that. There's rarely an opportunity for anybody to truly stand out, but is there anybody else you might want to give a shout out to?
My bruiser in my group, Captain Sano, my IGVG, Ali, Healer PNs, and my Fire Mage Pharaoh. We all did good in our group.
Now, this is not the first time you've been a great house, but it is the first time you've been in Weaver's Fen. Do you have any intentions for the hamlet now that you're in control?
We're just gonna take over the oil fields. That's it. We're gonna relax for a bit now.
Inspired by the victory, zealots across the island began spreading the word of the spark.
That's the
Watch
news.
it, bro.
I better see it on the next update.
John's with us. Watch
Hey, man, you got it. I'm watching you guys walk out the gate right
Hell
now
yeah.
to go get your,
Hell yeah.
start influencing the people, giving them the spark, bringing them the spark. Don't they want to know what's going on inside their heart? Hit them with the spark, right?
With the spark, absolutely.
There they go. Good luck on your influence. Don't shoot him from inside blue. That's messed up.
Thank you, my man.
No one would ever
Got away
know.
this time. He's lucky.
For those concerned, KOTT News were given assurances that there were no immediate plans to build a pipeline. But we'll bring you more on that story if it develops. Turning to the weather, and if you bet a penny the sun wouldn't rise today, you'd be out 1 penny for sure. But if you bet that same penny against invasion forces taking the night off, you'd get your penny right back. 2 more submissions for simulated fantasy combat resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, the Marauders of Losing to 40 Dodgers assault the syndicate forces of Strawberry for control of the resort destination of Ebonscale. Losing to 40 Dodgers, exercising their right to rematch, enter the bamboo forest preserves and set up their assault camp, intent on dislodging their arch-nemesis. Strawberry forces with a difficult decision tonight, splitting their forces between 2 simultaneous wars and an invasion, but come on, you know that's on autofill. Later, the Covenant forces of Tropical House assail the Syndicate forces of Strawberry for control of the master fishing port town of Reekwater. Tropical House make their move, strategically coordinating their attack to force Strawberry into the aforementioned dual fights. But will they be the one focused? Strawberry forces may have enough to cover both fights, but there's no way they fill the Everfall invasion. So citizens should be prepared to volunteer there to keep stations high. We'll have the outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Tropical House race through the fight in Reekwater to secure the master fishing port town. KOTT News were on the scene and spoke with a company representative about the fight. Hey, congratulations on your victory here in Reekwater over in darn near record time. Would you care to take us through what you saw happening out there?
Well, this is my first war, so I was kind of nervous. Enemy war, roster was stacked. Very hard fight for the points. Could have gone either way, but we toughed it out in record time, so I'm proud of everyone, to be honest.
Was there anybody out there you'd like to highlight tonight?
I just want to shout out hubby. He had the best plan I've ever seen in my life for a war. He also gave me this chance to prove myself, so I'm glad he gave me that chance, you know. He is the best musket.
Do you stream or YouTube anywhere? Can anybody find you any place out there?
You can actually go to hubby's YouTube. He has the greatest musket gameplay I've ever seen.
Later in Ebonscale, KOTT News caught up with Strawberry leadership to discuss both of their fights. Would you care to take us through how it went out there tonight? I noticed that you lost the outer gates at 5 minutes in, but managed to hold for the rest of the 25.
Yeah, so we were kind of trolling on the outside. We weren't really taking it too serious, and then boom, they hit us really hard, which was super impressive, and it was a fun war for sure.
Excellent, my friend. Was there anybody out there whose efforts you might want to highlight tonight?
I want to say shout out to Peyton, always with the 5 million heals on our team. He's always doing good, always. And also, I just want to say happy Chinese New Year to the Dodgers, you know.
Oh, yeah, for real. That is coming up here pretty soon, isn't it? Excellent. I noticed that you let Reekwater go. Did you put anybody over in Everfall to keep an eye on the invasion for you tonight?
We paid people to do it for us. I don't know how that worked out, but yeah, we didn't have enough people in our company. It's Christmas week, you know. A lot of people are gone. We don't have like our main people on right now, so we couldn't fill up Reek, so we just gave it to them.
Well, is there anything else you might like to say to the citizens of Eternum while you have this opportunity?
Yeah, I hope everybody had a good Christmas, and hopefully you guys make some good New Year's resolutions.
After the wars, KOTT news crews were getting footage of Fort Reekwater when we ran into this adventurous traveler. For embracing the spirit of adventure and braving the trek from Windsward Beach at level 20, Perditrix is this week's Citizen of the Week. But that wasn't all last night. While investigating reports of Covenant forces proselytizing in Brimstone Sands, KOTT discovered this colorful pair of hardworking minstrels performing in Town Square. So be sure to check them out.
We hope you enjoyed that. It is just as fun to hear as it is to play. One of the favorite songs that we have, Bender Rodriguez. Hopefully I said that right. See you dancing around and enjoying everything. If you guys are enjoying the music, please feel generous and throw a little tip our way. If not, we're going to continue to play anyway. But if you do enjoy it, it does help us out. And thank you guys so much for the generous tips. Like I said, we do take song requests. We will play them as soon as we can if you get them in time before we start another song. Otherwise, we're just going to play of our own accord. We're trying to afford houses out here like all you fancy people, but Brimstone Sands not cheap and neither is child support.
Turning to the weather, and today it looks like the sun is mixing it up a little as it crosses the sky. Then, in the evening, be on the lookout for northern cold fronts, giving rise to a 20% chance of invasion. A solid matchup tonight for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Covenant forces of Tropical House assault the Syndicate forces of Soju Gang for control of the rain-drenched mountain region of Morningdale. Tropical House taking their momentum north and exercising their right to rematch after being dislodged as Great House while adjusting to the new rules of armed conflict. But they're adjusted now. Soju Gang not putting any bulletin board material out this week, quietly preparing for the conflict. They know it will be tough, but they're confident they can hold. We'll have the outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night as the forces of Soju Gang managed to hold off Tropical House and retain control of the northern observation post in Morningdale. KOTT news crews were on the scene and spoke with a company representative about the outcome. Congratulations on your victory here in Morningdale, once again securing the hamlet in the name of the Syndicate. Little difficult out there, but how do you feel it went?
I think it went really well. It was definitely a close war. Both companies are very evenly matched. Both rosters were really strong. Thankfully, it wasn't a blowout in either direction. It was a lot more fun. Went down to the last minutes. Could have gone either way, but around the 3 to 4 minute mark, I think we really got solid and were able to hold to the very end, all 30 minutes.
Was there anybody out there whose performance was outstanding tonight?
Yeah, one big shout out to my boy Z-Best. He hit 1 million damage for the first time this war. He was just killing it. Also, one of my group mates who we've done 10 to 20 wars together now, Lum the Duelist. He was an absolute monster tonight on VGIG. Hit massive damage numbers, really high up the board for a heavy armor user. So big shout out to Lum.
Anything going on here in the hamlet that the citizens might want to be aware of in the near future?
Just trying to hold it down. Soju's holding 2 spots right now, which is really tough with the new Merc rules, but just knocking out town boards, trying to keep everybody that uses our crafting tables happy. But we got another war tomorrow at Restless, and just trying to hold both territories, so we're just getting that war content that we love.
Well, thank you. One final question for you. Where can people find you out there? Do you have a YouTube or Twitch channel they might know about?
Yeah, I got YouTube, 1,000 Troops. If you do a search for 1,000 Troops or 1,000 Troops Gaming, you might be able to find me. I should be on the top of that search result. I might put the war up from tonight just because it was so balanced. It was just such a great war, and you know, New World really thrives when you got wars like that, and New World was at its best tonight with, you know, a fully stocked war. You know, we were at probably 80 to 90% of full strength, and Tropical X definitely brought the pain as well. They had a really stacked roster, so good war, the kind of wars you like to see. It wasn't a blowout in either direction like it was when Tropical X got us about a week ago.
Quickly to the weather, and once again, the sun will make its journey across the Eternum sky, keeping corruption at bay. But look out after sunset, as a 20% chance of corruption invasion will occur on the island's coastlines. 4 bouts on the card tonight for simulated fantasy combat resolution, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. In the welterweight bout, the Syndicate forces of Cutlass Keys Fan Club challenge the Covenant forces of Most Wanted for control of the secondary oil reserves of Cutlass Keys. The fan club of Cutlass Keys return to the Southern Peninsula and execute their right to rematch, having lost the Keys last week during the period of eligibility confusion. Most Wanted forces making a tough decision, splitting their forces between 2 fights. Will they commit themselves to the Crocodiles of the Keys, or will their attention turn north? In the junior middleweight division, the Covenant forces of Most Wanted challenge the Syndicate forces of E-Boy Beach for control of the arid desert region of Brimstone Sands. If their attention is focused on the task before them here, the forces of Most Wanted could make a big splash with a victory here tonight. But will the open terrain hamper their techniques? E-Boy Beach have been patiently waiting for a challenge to emerge over the holidays as more companies become accustomed to the rules of combat. They should have a full group of willing participants ready to go. On the undercard for middleweight, the Covenant forces of Washed Degenerates challenging the Syndicate forces of Soju Gang for control of the always contentious Restless Shore. The former great house of Washed Degenerate returned to the action, seeking shelter from the second harshest winter in Eternum's history. And if that means an uphill battle in the mud, so be it. The forces of Soju Gang are accustomed to the anarchy in the archipelago, so they'll be looking forward to defending their positions at the top of that hill. In the heavyweight title fight, the Covenant forces of Tropical House challenge the Syndicate forces of Strawberry for their championship title and the right to rule over Everfall. In the yellow corner, hailing from the master fishing port town of Reekwater and seeking to expand the reach of their Holy Spark Fellowship, Tropical House. In the purple corner, fresh off some light road work in Ebonscale last night and all warmed up for a fight, your current reigning heavyweight champions of Eternum, Strawberry. We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, as all 4 great houses hold out and retain control of their respective regions. KOTT News crews were hard at work tracking down volunteers for comment, starting first in Cutlass Keys. Congratulations on your victory out there. Here in Cutlass Keys, holding off the fan club yet again. How do you feel it went out there tonight?
Yeah, man, it went really well, man. Like, we were definitely trying to hold the outside points as long as we can, and I mean, we did our job. We defended, we won.
And well, that's how it works in this game. Was there anybody out there who really outperformed themselves tonight?
Yeah, I mean, everybody, and everyone who showed up, everyone in our company, we try to do as much in-house as we can. We have 41 players. We're working towards that 50, but everyone played really well. I mean, if we had I want to shout out like Warlogger, Caliban, you know, Savrin, everybody here did a really good job. I also want to shout out to Bis Bruiser. You know, if he was here, he probably would have won V50 though. But yeah.
Well, you continue to hold the hamlet for yet another day. Are there any intentions to try to connect the secondary oil reserves with the primary oil reserves anytime soon?
We're looking to maybe push some other zones, but it's a little bit confidential right now, and I gotta, you know, keep that OPSEC to ourselves.
Moving quickly to Restless Shore, we were able to get a few words from a Soju Gang member trying hard to avoid a fine. Do you mind giving me a few words about tonight's outcome?
Yeah, no problem. Oh, it was great. It was light work.
It was light work. Were you able to hold the fort indefinitely outside?
Yeah, the team did good.
The teams were good.
Yeah, my group, all the groups were good. Just here, so I won't get fined.
Onward to Everfall, KOTT News caught up with one of the champs to get their reactions from the fight. Do you have a second to go over what happened tonight in the outcome?
Yeah, sure. I think that it was a fun war. I think that Tropic showed up in, you know, with all their forces, and I just really love my squad, man. We went out there and we did our thing and pressed them back to fort, and there's not really much else I can complain about. It was a fun time.
Like, were you able to keep them outside of the gates?
Yeah, I think we gave up 1 point, and then we held the other two. It turned into a fort camp pretty quick. They kind of fought out a little bit once they capped a point, but we kind of held them just to that 1 point.
Well, good work out there. Was there anybody in particular whom you might want to highlight tonight?
I would say the biggest one is Akina. He's a great shot caller. I love listening to his calls. Then the rest of the boys in the kill squad, all the bows, they were on point. They weren't missing any shots, melting people. So, you know, that's A-Trax. He's out there balling out. Manthine balling out. And then Lou does a great job leading my group. So,
any intentions for the hamlet? Are you still going to continue holding it as long as you can?
Yeah, we got a big war coming up against thrush damage, so we'll see how that goes.
Turning to the weather, and after a night like that, it's nice to have a morning like this as the sun shines on yet again. In fact, it's so pleasant today that there's only a 10% chance of corruption invasion coming down from the northern mountains. No submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, but we'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, as you might expect after a night of peace. KOTT news crews took advantage of the lull in the news to take a well-deserved night off. Turning to the weather, and it's a good thing the sun showed up today, keeping the afternoon clear, because the corrupted forces of the island are really charged up tonight, giving rise to a 40% chance of invasion. 2 more submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it is cardboard. First up, the Syndicate forces of Strawberry assault the Marauders of 40v50 Dodgers for Crown and Kingdom of the Western Monarch's Bluff. Strawberry forces splitting their attention yet again tonight, but have they filled out their complete company roster to accommodate a 25-40 split? Dodgers forces will be planning on facing at least 40 members on offense, so they'll field 40 of their own, but they'll still be ready to fight 40v50. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Thrust Damage attack the Syndicate forces of Strawberry for control of the Bamboo Forest Preserves and Medicinal Hot Springs of Ebonscale. Having practiced their craft in the Bog of the Fen, former Great House Thrust Damage step up their game and turn their attention to this Syndicate powerhouse. Strawberry forces responding to the developing strategy of simultaneous declarations by calling on their junior varsity members of the squad to step up and prove their mettle. We'll have the outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.